Welcome to my channel where we create fun animation with LEGO. In this episode, we're going to see what the LEGO Samurai Spirit is all about. Will our LEGO Samurai be able to stop the evil warlord from destroying the village? Let's find out. Under a blossoming cherry tree, a lone LEGO Samurai practices his sword techniques. As he lunges and slashes at the air, his master watches with keen eyes. Finally, the samurai stops and turns to his master. He proudly asks if he has done well. The master nods slowly. He tells his student that he has mastered the physical techniques of the sword. But the true test of a samurai is his spirit. The master says there are 3 signs that show the spirit of the samurai. 1 is courage, which means doing what must be done without hesitation or fear. 2 is respect, which means showing honor and courtesy to others, even to one's enemies. And 3 is loyalty, which means being faithful to one's duty and obligations. As they talk, the peaceful atmosphere is suddenly shattered by the sound of clashing swords and booming war drums. A huge army of evil warriors is thundering towards the village. At their head rides a fearsome warlord on a white horse. He lifts his sword high and lets out a fearsome battle cry. He challenges the defenders to come and get him, but there is no reply. Suddenly, the LEGO master steps forward. He puts his hand on his student's shoulder and says, "It is time for you to show me your spirit." With that, the LEGO master vanishes into thin air. The brave LEGO samurai draws his katana and runs to defend his village. With a mighty roar, the LEGO warlord charges through the village gate. His elite soldiers fan out behind him, cutting down everything in their path. Houses burst into flames and terrified villagers run for their lives. Our LEGO samurai is fast, but it looks like the warlord will reach the other side of the village without getting hit. Just as he's about to make it, a shower of arrows rains down on him and his men. Startled by the sudden attack, the warlord swerves his horse to the side, narrowly avoiding the flying arrows. Turning around, he sees the samurai standing on top of a burning building, firing his bow with deadly accuracy. With each shot, the samurai takes down 2 or 3 soldiers. But there are simply too many of the warlord's men, and soon they'll be upon him. To make matters worse, more and more houses start to burn and the villagers have nowhere left to hide. But just as the LEGO warlord is about to lead his troops into the final assault, something amazing happens. From behind the line of battle, the LEGO master appears. Raising his staff high, he calls upon the spirit of the mountain. The ground shakes as rocks rise from the earth and form a massive protective shield over the remaining villagers. With a wave of his staff, the master sends the rocks flying, knocking away the weapons and armor of the advancing soldiers. Then, calling on the spirit of the waterfall, he sends a torrent of water crashing down on the soldiers, knocking them off their feet and extinguishing the fires. When the dust settles, only the warlord and his elite guard remain standing. The LEGO master fixes his gaze on the warlord and tells him that if he wants to continue the fight, he will have to go through him first. Taking on the master, the warlord feels confident. After all, he has faced many great warriors before and has always come out on top. So when he hears the master call upon the spirit of the forest, he just laughs and charges forward. But the warlord's laughter suddenly stops short. That's because as he runs forward, thorny vines shoot out from the ground and wrap around his legs. Yelling in surprise, the warlord struggles to free himself from the bonds. But the master is ready for him. Calling upon the spirit of the mountain again, the master causes large boulders to fall from the sky, trapping the warlord beneath them. With the threat to the village over, the master turns his attention to the samurai. He asks his student if he has learned what it means to be a true samurai. The young warrior replies that he has. Not only has he learned the meaning of the warrior's way, but he has also gained confidence in his own abilities. The master nods, pleased with his student's answer. Then, placing a hand on the samurai's shoulder, the master disappears. The samurai looks around to see if anyone noticed the master's visit, but everyone is too busy cheering for him to have noticed anything. Delighted by the attention, the samurai bows to the villagers and joins them in celebrating their victory. But while the villagers celebrate, the LEGO Warlord is seething with anger. How dare that meddling master ruin his fun? He thought he had finally found an opponent worthy of his skills, but now he has been made a fool in front of his entire army. Refusing to let this humiliation stand, the LEGO Warlord pulls himself from under the rocks and leads his remaining men away. As he disappears into the forest, we see a wild look on his face. He is already plotting his revenge and dreaming of the day he can return to the village and finally get the samurai to face him. The next day, the LEGO samurai sets out on a mission to find the warlord and force him to end the conflict once and for all. Traveling deep into the forest, the samurai eventually finds the warlord's army camped out in a clearing. Knowing that the warlord would never accept a fair fight, the samurai does not bother trying to find him. Instead, he sneaks through the camp, taking out the enemy soldiers one by one until he reaches the tent where the warlord sleeps. Knocking the tent over, the samurai reveals the sleeping warlord and wakes him with the point of his sword. Startled by the sudden attack, the warlord draws his sword and prepares to defend himself. Seeing that the tables have been turned, the LEGO samurai sheaths his sword and tells the LEGO warlord that he is giving him one last chance to surrender. But the warlord refuses and charges forward, hoping to catch the samurai off guard. But the samurai is ready for him. Sparks immediately fly as the two swords clash together. For a moment, the two warriors stare each other down, neither willing to back down. But as the duel continues, the samurai begins to gain the upper hand. With each move, he is quicker and more precise than the clumsy warlord. Soon, the samurai has the warlord completely surrounded, his sword pressed against the warlord's throat. The samurai could end the fight right here, but he doesn't. Instead, he offers the warlord one last chance to surrender. But when the warlord refuses, the samurai's resolve breaks. With a cry of frustration, the samurai plunges his sword deep into the ground. The warlord staggers back in surprise. He cannot believe that he has lost. Falling to his knees, the warlord surrenders to the samurai. The samurai lowers his sword slightly, but does not draw it away from the warlord's neck. He tells the warlord that although he has surrendered, he still has one last chance to redeem himself. If he can show some honor and humility, the samurai will show him mercy. But if the warlord makes one false move, the samurai will not hesitate to end his life. With that, the samurai steps back and sheaths his sword. The defeated warlord has only one option left. With tears streaming down his face, the LEGO warlord removes his helmet and offers it to the samurai. This gesture of ultimate surrender brings the long conflict to an end. The samurai accepts the helmet with honor, and the LEGO warlord is allowed to live. With the warlord defeated, peace returns to the village. The villagers cheer for their brave defender as they celebrate their victory over the warlord and his army. Everyone is happy that the fighting is over and that the warlord will never bother them again. The LEGO samurai, though, knows that there will always be other evildoers looking to cause trouble. That is why he always trains and practices his skills so that he is always ready to defend the innocent. He might not always be successful, but he will never give up, because that is the way of the LEGO samurai. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please hit the like button and share with your friends. Until next time, goodbye.